we can party. Oh, there we go. We're live. Look at that. The magic. Let's see. We're live. Look at that. Audio works. Beautiful. Everyone can hear me. It's the magic of the internet. Hello again. It is Friday for our Friday stream. Now live. I'm going to wait maybe just a few seconds. See if we get random stragglers to join. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Punch that in. Also, if I might cut out, hopefully not, we just experienced a huge storm. And everything seems to be fine right now. But who knows? Who knows? It could thunder and lightning and then my power goes out and then the stream will cut. But we'll deal with that if it comes. So, we'll introduce ourselves. Welcome to the Imperial News Friday live stream. This is Jody, your host here. And I have with me again Ken. Say hello so people can recognize your voice.
Sup, S-U-P.
And Elrond.
Sup, mother truckers?
And Vienno.
Howdy.
I do this because if we're all, I find, especially listening to podcasts sometimes, if you have a whole bunch of people all talking at once, it's very hard to keep track of who's who. So it's a way of socially signaling to people, this is what Elrond sounds like, and this is what Ken sounds like. And for those who don't know, these fine people are patron supporters of our podcast, and if you want to join the chat at some point in the future, voice chat, it's patreon.com/Imperial News. And we are going to watch 2 clips today. It's going to be a little lighter than it was last week when we dealt with a very racially loaded topic. I guess the best way to say it. So this one's just going to be slightly lighter. We're first going to watch a clip of David Menzies. He's at an LCBO, and he's going to do some ridiculous stuff there. And then we're going to end a clip with a new Rebel employee who I'm kind of hesitant in saying their name yet, so I might just leave it. In part because I have more Twitter followers than this person. So I don't know if I'm, like, by platforming him, I might be giving him more attention than he deserves.
Wow, that's a lot of power. You've really come up. You've really come up now.
Well, part of it is like...
You have become what you have feared.
Oh, God. Well, part of it, too, is that, like, Rebel hired this dude. And, like, nobody, like, his biggest watched video that he's ever done, like, on his YouTube channel is the one that Ezra just posted on to the Rebel News website. So we're going to, so my guess is being platformed by Ezra is going to have a lot more of an effect. But I did go through the guy's Twitter feed, and it's terrible. And he's got, like, he's like saying jokes into the Twitter void, and no one is responding to them. No one is like, he's got like no likes. So it's almost like very. Sorry?
That's relatable content. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got to like and retweet his own stuff at least. Come on.
Yeah. So, anyways, I feel bad for the person, but we'll get to him for a second. For now, we're gonna hit David Menzies at an LCBO. And, of course, again, I'm going to skip 30 seconds into the video because they always do this, like, bumper portion of the video. And I really don't care to watch what we're going to watch. Plus, it gives certain things away. I think it's funnier we just let it play out and see what David Menzies gets himself into. The other thing to note is they're going to be talking about theft at the LCBO. For those who don't know, who aren't Canadian or who aren't Ontarian, so we're just starting to open up our liquor sales, but like in other places around the world and in other provinces, you can buy alcohol anywhere, like at Walmart or convenience stores. But in Ontario, it used to be solely the designation of the beer store or the liquor store. The liquor store being the LCBO, which is where David Menzies is. Doug Ford and I think Kathleen Wynne was part of it too, a little bit. If you don't, am I wrong on that?
I think it was just Doug Ford.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was Dofo.
Was it? I wonder if like Kathleen Wynne was like hinting at it at some point or something, and then Doug Ford. Either way, and basically they've opened it up now where you can buy things like beers at grocery stores and stuff like that. But if you still want your hard liquor, you still have to go to the LCBO to pick that up. And the conservatives don't like that because they want that we should privatize everything basically. So this piece we're watching is a way of demonizing the LCBO in ways because they want to make liquor sales privatized. The other thing is,
And
sorry, go on.
I was just gonna point out that like the LCBO is like a multi-billion-dollar corporation, crown corporation here. Like it puts a lot of money into like the public coffers, so it's very
Yeah.
no good that they're trying to privatize it.
So not only does it put a lot of money into the system, but they're also, I wouldn't say they're great jobs, but they're unionized jobs. And that's something worthwhile to note. Where if you make it into convenience stores like they're in Quebec, you're going to now have people who don't have job security. Because, like, so I guess part of the focus of this clip is they're going to be talking about thefts at the LCBO in particular. Now, if thefts of alcohol are bad, they're going to happen at convenience stores too. But in that case, these people don't have the backing of a union to protect them in these cases, right? That care about their health and safety, right? You're going to have a mom and pop small business owner telling you, like, no, you tackle that bad guy who's stealing our liquor, right? And could potentially put you in danger, right? So
Yeah.
part of what's going on here is a way to, like, undermine the LCBO. But they don't succeed very well, I don't think, but we'll find out. So go on with it. We'll get to witness David Menzies in action. Just right before we get into it, too, I think this is an interesting way of seeing David Menzies in context, too, because we joke about him a lot on the show. But this is going to be interesting to see him in the wild and existing, and it's amazing. He's like, here's the thing. He has like a charm. There's just something about David Menzies that I like. And the thing is, he's a terrible human being. I'm well aware of this. But there's something about him I like. So at the end of this, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that as well. And with that, let's get going.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And before I get to our story today, folks, if you can, please go to rebelinvestigates.com.
Don't go
Sometimes
to
when we
rebel
hold those in government, those in bureaucracies accountable for their decisions, they are not willing to give that information to us. So we have to file Freedom of Information requests, and that can cost hundreds of dollars. And lo and behold, I am here to report on that very thing. You know, for more than a year now, astute viewers of Rebel News will know that we've been trying to find out just how much theft in terms of stolen liquor is going out the door of LCBO stores. That's the Liquor Control Bureau of Ontario. And you would think that the LCBO would be open and transparent with that information. It is a crown corporation. It is, in effect, owned by the taxpayer. Oh, what are you doing, sir?
I love that. He looks like the stereotype of every racist uncle in every movie ever.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, Louis C.K. is really falling on some hard times. Jeez.
Yeah, that's why he is where he is.
I do wonder, because David Menzies used to work with Ezra back on Sun Media, and I believe they left together. Like once the television portion of Sun Media was going under, they kind of left together. And I want to feel like it was kind of like what the fuck is that movie? Jerry Maguire moment? Where Ezra's going down with the ship and he's like, who's coming with me? And then David Menzies like raises his hand. And yeah. And then I hope they also have that moment at the end of the film where he tries to win David back. It's like, you had me at hello.
Did they not like send an email or call to be like, hey, we're shooting something in the Lickfo? Like...
I get the feeling no, which makes this...
Yeah, the hand over the camera makes me suspect.
Oh, but we're gonna get a bit of it, but it's the fact of like the gall you have to just like walk into a store and just start like
You have to understand, they gotta go for the authentic feel.
yeah. Well, I'm like anyone who's doing this. Like this is what I mean. We're going to get a sense of David Menzies because this is David Menzies' trick. Like the running joke on our show is that David Menzies is always getting arrested, right? And the reason why he's always getting arrested is because he realizes it draws eyeballs to his content. And so a normal person doing this piece working for like CTV or CBC would just do the footage like on the sidewalk outside of the LCBO. Right?
Yeah, somewhere public.
And yet he's like, I gotta go right in the heart of the store, in the back where they're selling their whiskey.
Film in a private, like film in a business location.
Yeah. And
sorry, just a bit of a side note too, is like he looked lost in the back of that LTBO.
yeah.
Like horribly lost.
Yeah, he does look horribly lost. But also, I've noticed as well, he's like, breathing sounds harsh. And I'm like, I hope you don't have COVID, David. Wear a mask in public.
Oh my god, and he's not wearing a mask either. God.
No, he's
Go
not.
back to his hockey stick.
Yeah, I mean...
Do you think they just like sprinted in there with a camera and like a supervisor had to, the like regular person working at the till had to wait for a supervisor and manager to be like, hey, Rebel News is trying to film again.
I think you're onto something. We're going to get to that in a second. I do want to say, so Nick has joined, both Nick in the chat and Nick on voice. Both Nicks have arrived at once. Just in case you're wondering who this extra voice is.
Yeah, I snuck in.
Yeah, no, it's all good. We're gonna hear some more. So Vienno, you're on the right track here. I'll just say that.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and call the police. Okay. So as you can see, we were just there was an attempt to shut us down. That is the other thing that's very amusing is that they're more concerned about adverse publicity than they are in terms of theft being happening. Sir, yeah. Actually, it's owned by the taxpayer of Ontario, ma'am.
Is he gonna start yelling about how he's a sovereign citizen?
I wish. But I feel like, getting on what you're saying, Vienno, I'm pretty sure that person who yelled at him, but like, get out of our store or whatever, I'm pretty sure that was probably the person working the till that he had to walk past to set up this shot. Because, like, part of me thinks that someone in the public is probably not yelling at him at this point. But
well, the thing is, too, like, as a retail worker, if somebody walked by me with a camera while I'm, like, doing cash, I would just look away. Like, that's not... It ain't my business. I don't care. I'm not getting paid to figure out what they got a camera for. Like...
Yeah.
I'd tell my manager, and maybe she would go deal with it, but I wouldn't do anything, really. Unless, again, they were big, like, very obviously Rebel News or whoever.
They very clearly have security staff here who has the face shield standing in front. The other person looks like just an employee. I don't know if they're management or not. And I feel bad for him for getting in close proximity. But we are going to see a manager eventually. So not to give it away, but it's pretty obvious where this is going.
Staff is not happy.
No, I mean, why would you? This guy just randomly walks up. Well, and here's the thing is, I'm wondering if this is the LCBO near David's house, and he's probably done this before.
Oh, no. He's probably got, like, his picture, like a band picture.
Yeah. Which is why, like, maybe, too, like, that's why they're hanging out in, the back corner of the store. To sit, like, we're just going to go in this corner. They won't notice that we're here.
Yeah, you can clearly tell it's the backside.
Yeah. Oh, let's go do this again.
Why, sir, as a security guard, why aren't you concerned about thieves stealing booze? Okay. Go ahead.
What?
Now, where was I?
What?
Oh, God.
why aren't you concerned about why are you concerned about my trespassing? I don't understand.
I just like watch his like interaction with his phone that he's left on top of the booth too, because like every time people come, he's practiced, like he's done this before. He gets the camera ready just in case the other camera gets taken down, so they can have multiple angles. Like, it's clearly a grift here. Like, he wants to be. This is the kind of footage he wants, right? And
they've done this song and dance before.
Yeah, which is why, again, on the show we talk about it. Like, their whole purpose is to harass, get attacked for harassing people, and then complain about the cops or Antifa for arresting them or fighting back, right? And this is
why did you do your job?
Yeah. I just love, and I love like how like just like he goes from the whole dealing with them and trying to make a scene to going right back to immediately reporting again. So watch how smooth this is. It's beautiful. It's a work of art.
Okay, go ahead. Now, where was I? We filed that. Actually, we asked the LCBO how much they were losing in terms of theft. They would not answer, so we filed a Freedom of Information request.
So this is going to be the sort of like brunt of the argument that they're going to be making, which is that they did this Freedom of Information Act request to obtain two pieces of information. And so what it says here on the screen, the two pieces of information that they wanted from the LCBO. The first is final versions of briefing materials / decks. I'm not necessarily sure what those are. Policies, memos, and media lines addressing the issue of shop theft at the LCBO. And the second thing they wanted was how much is being lost through shop theft. Now, I want to be clear on these 2 points, because what Dave Menzies is going to do throughout the next like several minutes is only focus on number 2 here. So they were denied the request initially, and they gave reasons for the denial. And David will constantly like talk about why they were denied and refer back to point 2 but ignore point 1, which is very important. Because if you think that like they're denying solely because of point 2 here, then yeah, it would seem kind of crazy. But it's like some of the reasons they listed clearly apply to number 1 here, which is like such an obvious sleight of hand that he's doing. Because he shows you it right on his screen right here. But he's going to do it anyways, because this is the Rebel. And they like know that their audience is not paying attention or following along. Or if they do, they don't care.
And incredibly, it was denied on 5 reasons. Now, folks, you're not going to believe this. The first reason was advice to government. What does that mean? That the LCBO advises government? I mean, the LCBO is the tail. The government is the dog. The tail does not wag the dog. It should be taking its orders from the Ministry of Finance, not vice versa. Number 2, okay, thank you.
So now they've had the cops called on them. But so we're seeing where this is going.
Poor employees.
Yeah, I know. But getting to the point that he erased there, right? So like advising the government, it has to do with like proprietary information, right? So this is a corporation, a crown corporation, and you don't want necessarily you don't want necessarily things like trade secrets and stuff like that to get out, right? So there's certain reasons built into it for why they would want to withhold some of this information and why they have to advise the government, right? Like he's acting all confused about this, but this is why when you're looking, the first question the first thing that they wanted on the 2 issues that they asked for had to do with like internal information regarding theft that could help inform the government and therefore like affect policy and stuff like this. Which under the law, it's likely that they could be exempt from having to give out that information. I mean, it's a different story if you go, maybe our Freedom of Information Act legislation should be more open and that we should have more access to this information, which is a different argument than saying, oh, these points they raised are so confusing. And me, David Menzies, just doesn't understand. Which is like, because I could argue, like, I'm pro-government transparency. I don't know that us having the access to this information would really be that terrible.
Seize the means of the LCBO.
Yeah. Isn't it already partially there as a crown corporation?
Technically?
More on the way
It
than
needs to be-
Walmart, I guess.
Democratically run and operated
Well,
by the worker.
so Opsu needs to take it over.
I'll work night shift.
You'll work night shift? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
I'll do the overnight.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll
sweet.
do the overnights.
I'm just going to seize the means of that whiskey, to be honest.
Is oh yeah, we're exempt. Thank you. Medical exemption.
Oh, the card.
Oh, really?
It's not even a card. I don't know if I can get a better image of this. It's a button, a pin that he's wearing on his shirt saying that he's exempt.
Well,
Why?
that's how you know he means business and he's legit, Jody. That's how you know.
I mean, what, like, not to sort of tell David to do his job here, but why wouldn't he just wear that on the front of his thing so everyone could see it? Like, now he has to make some sort of, like, show and expose his undergarments.
Well, I mean, the show is what he wants, isn't it? He wants to make a big
Yeah.
old fuss about not wearing a mask.
Well, you don't want to poke holes in such an expensive jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I love...
If a David Menzies shows a button off in the middle of a forest and no one's around, does anyone care?
No. But he... this is like the thing about Rebel's exemption sort of idea. They're banking on this notion that you can't actually ask people whether or not they're really exempt from this policy, because that would be discrimination against their rights not to disclose a disability or something like that. And so they have on their website, they're posting these cards that they want people to take into stores and harass employees by going, I'm medically exempt. And then if they get asked why they're medically exempt or what's the reason, they'll be like, you're discriminating against me. And this is the game that they're playing, which is so... well, it's annoying, but it's also like like, I know many people are going to take this advice from them and harass store employees everywhere. And that's depressing. Because now these people who are being forced to work through a pandemic are having to put up with fucking assholes like this guy, who just barge into the store without a mask and go, I'm medically exempt. Do we really think he's medically exempt? No.
It's like, yeah, if they actually like had to like be forced to like show their medical exemption or to demonstrate their health problem, then it's gonna probably be a bogus issue.
But even...
If we're gonna be real here.
I do think you're right in this instance, but at the same time, like, I understand... I don't know the full legality of this, and partly because I've never decided that I wanted to challenge it in any way. But
Yeah, as far as like a medical privacy issue, yeah, that's easy enough to understand for that reason why.
But also I can understand from a public policy why you wouldn't necessarily want to be heavy-handed in the enforcement of any of this. And what you're really hoping to bank on is the goodwill of people to just listen to good medical advice. But of course,
Oh, totally.
what public policy people aren't taking into account are fucking yahoos like this,
Idiots, yeah.
who are going to like naysay and be belligerent no matter what you do to try to encourage people to wear a mask during a global fucking pandemic. And it was even from the start of this, David, I mean, you joked, I think, earlier about the hockey stick thing. So when the pandemic first came down, David Menzies had a microphone attached to a hockey stick.
Yeah.
So he would keep his, like, 6 feet distance. And part of me was like, that was pretty clever, haha. And, like, back then, they at least acknowledged that the virus was a real threat and a hazard. But even back then, like, David Menzies was not wearing a mask at all. And then they're especially, I mean, he's not even doing the hockey stick thing anymore as well. And there's been tons of videos of him at like anti-mask rallies with that Chris Sky dude, I can't remember his full name, Chris Siriacho or
Yeah, Sakiacho.
yeah, he's been at all those protests without a mask on and just bumping elbows with a whole bunch of people. So,
The hockey stick in the liquor store would be so funny, though.
oh, and if he turns and starts
no.
knocking some bottles off the shelf,
Yeah.
What is this? Are you guys kidding?
yeah. Well, that's
Follow Rebel News and ask them to reshoot this.
oh, let me get a better shot. That's like, I mean, it's like a weird. He has that like cartoonish charm, that like a bumbling buffoon that I enjoy about his content. Oh, I'm sorry, boss. But we're gonna get more of his explanation on this stupid LCBO stuff.
Okay. Thank you, Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh my god.
Incisive, but that was. You got him, David. You got him.
Thank you, Karen.
Man's
Jesus.
got memes.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. He just
Can
throws
we
it. I'm gonna back that up. It comes so naturally. It's beautiful. He's a work of art. What were you gonna say, Elron?
Can we just like take a moment to acknowledge the right's horrific push to use the Karen meme on liberals telling you to be safe and not infect other people with your stupid fucking germs? Can we just take a moment to acknowledge like how annoying that is?
It is very annoying.
100%.
Because Karen served.
Give.
Sorry, I'll let you finish, Ken.
Oh, I was just gonna say, giving off real big "how do you do, fellow kids" vibes.
Yeah. Yes, I get that a lot from David too. It's this like trying to fit in with the youthful crowd when he's clearly in his like 60s, maybe 70s. The guy's old. I have a feeling the guy's old. But let's watch him how smooth he gets out that Karen riff.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Karen. Number 2 is law enforcement. Now, what does this mean exactly? It sounds ominous. I guess we're going to find out because the security informed me they've called the cops, so maybe the police can explain that.
Oh my god.
Man.
No,
The cops are just gonna show up and be like, "Well, we've got your suite ready for you." You know, like the cell that we always bring you to.
it's so like he's acting like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but it's like if you're talking about internal theft, it could be that the LCBO is going through like legal channels to deal with certain things, and maybe that's information according to the law that states that they don't have to give it up in a Freedom of Information Act. But he's going to pretend, oh, I don't know. Like, again, like he's going to turn it back in a few seconds to be like, they're just not telling us how much money that's going out the window kind of thing. But really...
Yeah, like
Go on, Vienna.
incidences of robbery get reported to the police, and the police are a different jurisdiction than a Freedom of Information Act normally covers. It's pretty basic, like, legalisms.
But it sounds ridiculous if you just focus on the fact of going, well, they just won't tell us how much money has been lost due to theft at the LCBO. Right? Like, that seems like such a basic claim where it's like, you don't even have to involve law enforcement, so why are they telling us to do that, right? But, of course, he's missing the fact that they asked for 2 things.
Third reason they denied our request for that dollar amount was economic and other interests of Ontario. Now, this is, absolutely staggering, because why is it not in the economic interests of Ontario to know what the theft amount is? I mean, that makes no sense. In fact, it is the taxpayer ultimately that is the owner of the LCBO. Number 4.
Now, why this argument is stupid is because there's many reasons why you might want the Crown Corporation to keep some of its economics information secret from other competitors now that you've opened up the selling of beers and stuff at other stores to the public, right? So just as you don't force Walmart to give out their like trade secrets, like why would you force the LCBO to do it? Now, maybe you have a point in saying that, well, the difference is we actually pay into LCBO in a certain respect. But if we want LCBO to be the kind of revenue source that helps build our province, why would we, as people who have a partial share in this, if like the way David's talking about this is right, why would we want that information out there to like hurt us? I don't know, like should we have access to this information? Maybe in a perfect world. Change the laws then. I would really like them to say like, let's create a bill. Let's be engaged in the legal apparatus of this country.
But that's not fun.
Yeah. That'll actually involve some work.
They're gonna put a private members bill through the new Blue Party or whatever.
Yeah. But the new Blue Party is probably going to be just like privatize everything. Everything must go. Which is already what Doug Ford wants to do, but that's besides the point.
Personal privacy. Can you imagine that, folks? So this is inexplicable too, because we're not asking for the names of the thieves. We're just asking for the annual dollar amount stolen. And 5...
So, personal privacy. And he makes it out like the names of the thieves, but part of what they were asking for had to do with internal documents having to do with like the selling and whatnot of, or the providing of this information to the government and whatnot. So it's like you might not want to give away internally like what employees had to deal with thefts in this building, when, what times, where, what locations, this kind of information, right? But he's making it out, well, all we want is this number amount, which I've already pointed out from the beginning. It's like it has nothing to do with just the number amount. But this one I think is my favorite, if I'm remembering correctly. Number 5.
Exclude employment and labor relations information. Again, I have absolutely no idea what that means.
What the
Well, my boy's honest, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He knows what he don't know.
What? And like
It's got such like Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan Experience like energy to it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of,
I just, all I had to do when I researched this piece, which, to be honest, I didn't spend too much time researching it, but all I had to do was look up the bill on the Government of Ontario's website that lists these reasons that they've highlighted on their episode, and then go, oh, I get it. That's why they don't want that information out. And and it's just amazing to me that like he's selling himself as a reporter. And he's just like, he has access to the same information that I do, but he could get away with just being like, I have no clue what this means.
He's a reporter, not an investigative reporter.
No, he is an investigative
He just
reporter.
reports the facts. He doesn't know what they mean.
They opened up the segment, if you remember, saying support our investigative work. So he's selling himself as an investigator. That's why he's inside. He's in the LCBO because he's got to study it from the inside. He's got to investigate it.
Yeah, I have a galaxy brain take on his idea of reporters in that the right hates journalists of all forms, and he is playing the right-wing version of a reporter who is hated, arrested, and he's just, he's playing the part, He's like, this is what we do. We're annoying and we get arrested.
Or he just thinks he's doing, like, all a journalist does is, like, read the letter they got back from him and not actually research it.
Exactly. They don't do work. That's why journalism sucks.
I love it. I want to listen to it again. This is, again, it's so beautiful. It's so perfectly stupid that I love it. I love this guy. When he's not being a complete and utter bigot. I guess, like, that's the other thing I have to clarify. He still works for Rebel and is a complete bigot, but
Excluded employment and labor relations information. Again, I have absolutely no idea what that means. but it sounds, I guess, technical and official, and I guess so be it. Well, here's the deal.
And if you didn't pick up on the wording there, it has to do with bargaining. Right? So it's like maybe the reason why we don't want some of this internal information out there is because it's use or it gives away our negotiations with the union, which are supposed to be kept sort of quiet. As someone who's been in a union and has bargained, there's tons of laws having to do with bad faith and about what a company can or cannot do with information internal to negotiations. So maybe that's why they don't want some of this information out there. But I have no clue what the words mean. They sound so big and profound. Oh, God. Someone in the chat said he should stick to being a chew toy for dogs. David Menzies got bit by a dog, if anyone didn't know that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, person in the chat, was that at an anti-mask rally? Or was that at Black Lives Matter rally that he got eaten by the dog? I'm going to move ahead, but I'm curious to remember.
At considerable cost, we appealed the LCBO's rationale for denying us this information, and guess what? The ruler, the educator, ruled in our favor. It was overturned, and indeed the LCBO was compelled to give us that dollar amount. And for fiscal 2018-2019, the dollar amount is almost $5.2 million. That's $5.2 million of booze just flying out the door, not being paid for. And what makes this especially egregious is that according to the LCBO's theft policy, workers shall not attempt to detain or arrest thieves. Instead, they're supposed to alert police or security personnel.
Can tell Lickbo's unionized.
Yeah. So the thing that like strikes me about this that's really absurd is what would the other option be? Like
it just sounds, I was just going to say, it sounds the same as even like some of the first jobs I ever worked that weren't unionized. It's just like if you're getting robbed or if anything happens, you know, give them what they want, that sort of thing. You don't go looking for, not necessarily looking for trouble, but like you don't go like making a bad situation worse by agitating the person doing what they're doing, sort of thing. And to me, it's just like, I don't see anything wrong with what's being instructed there, but he's got to do his story, you know.
Actually, no. I think that LCBOs should have their own stand your ground laws.
Just shoot thieves on spot.
Yeah.
When I worked,
just a shotgun next to every till.
When I worked at Canadian Tire, way back in the day, and this is back when I ate meat. So for those of you who have shopped at a Canadian Tire, they always have a hot dog stand out in front of their store.
Yes.
So I was on my lunch break, and I'm down at the hot dog stand, and out runs this guy running and hopped into a truck, and the truck starts going, and one of the employees, one of my coworkers, ran out of the store and got in front of the truck to stop them. The truck ran into them, and he got his legs sort of like stuck up into the wheel well of the truck. And the woman driving the getaway thing was still revving the thing, and the truck wasn't moving. The like tire was like sort of stuck. And my favorite part of this story is this guy, this huge man, came running from like the other end of the parking lot, and just in one fell swoop punched through the glass window and knocked the lady out who was driving the car. And like that ended the whole revving situation. And then that guy disappeared. Like I have no clue. The cops couldn't even find him.
Jody, that was you.
Yeah.
That was you in an altered state.
I went back in time in like the future to stop the. But but the point being is like we were told after that incident to like just let them go because it's not worth it. Like my colleague, like they were fine after time, but like their leg was pretty fucked up, right? And was that worth it to stop the like? I think it was something like $60 worth of like stereo equipment that they stole out of the Canadian Tire, like car stereo stuff. So it's like, what? I don't know what Dave Menzies expects in this case. Like, should we have employees, like an old lady working the till at an LCBO, to tackle somebody who's stealing some booze? What? And he makes it sound like 5 point some odd million is a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like,
Yeah.
I was thinking like 5 million from like Lickbos in our city, like
Yeah.
all of Ontario. That's like
Yeah.
$5. Like,
Well, we're gonna get to it,
Yeah.
and like there is some contrary information out there. So part of me is like, I don't know how to assess this because the union itself is giving out much higher numbers. But we'll see. But again, it's one of these things where it's like, people shouldn't put their lives at risk for their stupid company, and it's good that they're unionized. And like, it's not your job. Let them walk out, and then you call security or police. We've negotiated it. That's what you can do. Hooray, unions.
woohoo.
Yes, I'm sure the thief is going to wait around until the police officer or the security guard comes by, as opposed to making off with the hooch. And it should be noted, we're not talking
Hooch.
about de rigueur tramps and hobos walking out the door with this booze. We're talking about organized theft rings. We're talking about people that come in.
Like,
What?
Okay.
So okay.
They're really bad theft rings if they're only getting $5.2 million a year.
Well, not only that, this article has absolutely nothing to do with booze being stolen. I looked it up. It's mostly thefts that have been occurring at Shoppers Drug Mart, and it's like nationally across the whole country. Has nothing at all to do with booze. But again, you gotta love that, like, it's weird because it's like a weird backhanded comment. I mean, he calls them what, tramps and hobos, and he refers to the booze as hooch. So it's like he's speaking this old timey language to refer to these things.
Yeah, see, we gotta get the hooch to the speakeasy.
But he's almost
Didn't he say like hutch? Like hutch?
no, like hooch. Hooch is like a
I've never heard it pronounced that way.
no. What would you refer to it?
I always thought it was like hooch.
Well, it's got more of a hooch. I don't know. Either way.
I just thought he was passing gas.
Yeah. It's pretty much just him just constantly passing gas. But I don't know. It's like, what do you want to? It's almost like he's like cool with if it was just like a homeless person going out in there to like steal a 50 of booze or whatever. Like he's cool with that, and part of me is like, all right, cool. Like he's still shaming them by like calling them tramps and hobos rather than referring to the fact that these people need homes and are suffering from other issues. But at least he's not upset if they're gonna steal the hooch. It's gonna be the crime rings, allegedly.
Yeah.
Crime rings. So
I did also kind of want to note, and I mean, I don't want to make this be like even like because it's a big and broad subject too. But he's talking about like the criminals waiting around or the people stealing the booze, it's waiting around for the cops. And there's obviously been a lot of discussion around policing and its role in society, and the thing I've been seeing and reading and understanding is police don't statistically they don't stop the crime necessarily. Nope. It's something that's done after the fact, correct?
I think he's going to get to it too. The police aren't even doing anything in these cases either.
Right. Yeah, no, cops. You're lucky if they show up an hour after, right. Anything's there. Even if like you call while the dude's in the store and you're like, "Hey, dude's here."
Yep.
Like actively stealing, as I watch. I know that the police station's literally like 5 blocks away. Why don't you come on down?
And granted,
your work is already done for you.
Yeah. So this whole thing is stupid. I mean, like, I don't know what the best way to deal with theft is. Like, to be honest, best way to deal with theft, have a better society. Have a better society so that people can everyone can afford booze if they really wanted it.
Second best is just let them steal, in my opinion.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. Go for it.
Yeah.
If it's under like $500, like just turn a blind eye, and if it's over, like maybe they need help carrying it out.
Of course, like they're gonna make the argument again that like all this theft is raising our own price of booze or like whatever, and it's like, well, no one's telling you have to drink the hooch, you know, David Menzies.
David Menzies, the economist.
Yeah.
Insurance exists, my guy.
Yeah.
Literally fill their bags with high-end scotch, like the kind behind me here, and just walking out unmolested. Now, I know shop theft is a huge problem with all retailers, but the fact that the LCBO has a laissez-faire attitude to thieves is what makes this egregious. Costco, Walmart, they're privately owned. If they want to endure theft, well, it comes out of their profits. But the point is, it is the taxpayer of Ontario that is the one. Hello there, sir.
So again,
Hello there, sir.
I challenge your appeal.
It reminded me too that I want to talk. Speaking of waiting for the police, police aren't there yet, but someone is currently waiting for the police.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, like, here's the thing, he goes, well, if Walmart wants to just lose this money, blah blah blah, that's fine with them. But at the like, what's the difference of being like? So it's like in his mind, because with the LCBO we pay taxes, therefore we should be really incensed about theft at the LCBO. Whereas Walmart, it's not our money, even though they get tax subsidies and other bullshit. So therefore we should just let Walmart do whatever they want to do. Even if it means all the other goods in the store, the prices go up because they're laissez-faire about theft, as he's putting it. Like, it's bad
So
in the case
now
of the
you're
LCBO.
against laissez-faire economics.
Yeah. I think I don't hide that on this show. I did offer as my reason for why I don't like care about the theft is this should just all not be capitalism, and it would solve all these problems. You know, if we cared for people such that they weren't so depressed with their living situation and can't afford medications and are there self-medicating on hooch that they're clearly stealing from LCBOs. And frankly, in that case, those people are the people where I'm like, if that's helping you get by, I don't care that you're stealing it. I care about their well-being, and I would rather them live in a society that's going to treat them better, you know, rather than worrying about how we're going to enforce and harm them as they're desperately stealing whiskey out of a LCBO. But I'm just a bleeding heart.
Yeah, I was just gonna say trickle down economics, Jody.
But we're gonna see an interaction here. This, I think, is where the manager comes in.
Tony, why is it that we had to file an FOI to get the amount of theft that the LCBO loses on a annual basis?
Direct all your questions to corporate office.
Oh, we did, and they wouldn't answer them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot answer any questions. Please, all your questions to corporate office.
We did, and they declined to be interviewed. And we also reached out to the Ministry of Finance. Rod Phillips, his office hasn't even had the courtesy to return.
Taping, please.
Why are you so concerned about videotaping and not concerned about theft?
I'm very concerned, but please,
You're concerned about what, Tony? Sorry.
please stop. I'm going to ask you to leave.
All right, then, well, we're almost finished, so.
Oh my god.
Please, I got to do my part. Please.
Well, have you been told to shut down the press, Tony? Or?
All questions regarding LCBO must go through corporate office. Okay?
Yes, I've done that, Tony. I've told you, and they've declined.
From videotaping, please.
But we're being videotaped by multiple cameras here, Tony.
Okay, I'm asking you to leave nicely, so you're not. I'm going to call the police.
I think they've been called already, so it saves you a call.
What an asshole! Oh my god.
This guy, like the audacity to throw out Karen earlier.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's kind of proving the point of like cops not responding either, because like if they wanted to forcibly hold David Menzies at the LCBO until the cops showed up, I feel like it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
I also like.
He's only there because they want him to leave.
I'm never sympathetic to management, but in this instance, he's making me sympathetic to management. I feel so
I feel
bad
so
for this
bad
guy.
for poor Tony. And I mean, this whole clip is literally it undermines his whole argument.
My my favorite moment is when Tony just looks at the camera and goes, "Please stop." Oh, fucking Tony. Poor Tony. And look, like, what a pro. Like, he's picking up his phone and now he's filming him because you got to get the new angle and, like, oh my god.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate these people.
I'll be calling them in again, okay?
So here we are, folks. Tony is the manager, and again, they seem to be hypersensitive about the story getting out more so than the thievery happening at the LCBO. And, it's not just the thievery. In recent weeks, other stories have broken, such as a computer glitch allowing customers to order bottles of wine, multiple bottles of wine, at a cost of $0.00. Yeah, free booze. And
Oh boy.
Isn't that amazing? Like, why is that a negative, like, story? Just because it's taxpayer money?
Oh my God.
Sometimes errors benefit people. Cool.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Also, post-millennial, sweet reference.
Yeah, post-millennial and then Toronto Sun. I love that we're going to hear about this one. Teens find new way to nab pandemic booze. Dress up as grannies with masks.
That's incredible. Gee,
The solution
honestly, Godspeed.
If you're...
the solution for people who are too far from Quebec to just cross the border and buy it young.
I don't know what they're doing in terms of identification anymore in Ontario. But, because part of me is like, you have the mask policy, right? So, like, my guess is that, like, going in with fake IDs must be much easier unless they force you to take the masks down. I haven't been asked since I've gone to an LCBO since the pandemic started. But the fact that these teens were like, you know what? Instead of just wearing a mask, I'm going to fully immerse myself into the experience. I'm going to Miss Doubtfire this situation.
Honestly, it's incredible. I am, honestly, if they're that smart already,
Give them the
let them kill
booze.
some
Yeah.
Draco. Yeah.
That's
That's too much power. That's
Yeah.
too much power.
They earned it. That's labor, They put in their hours.
Yep, absolutely. They put the effort in. They got that can of black label.
Jesus Christ. And here, like, the thing, like, highlighting this story as well, his complaint is, like, booze being illegally taken. This isn't a story about booze being illegally taken. They're purchasing it. The illegality is the youngness or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, this has been a thing that keeps bothering me about this clip. Is David Menzies is coming in to this random store and being like, "What are you doing about crime? What are you doing about crime?" And then is acting indignant that they're like, "You need to get out. You need to put on a mask. You need to get out of the store." And it's like, "But what about the other crime?"
Yeah.
It's like, there's no crime right now, David. You are the criminal.
Yeah.
You're the one trespassing. You are the crime that is happening.
What about the crime I'm
and your
committing right now?
stupid suit.
Oh my god. What about the crime I am currently in the middle of committing? Yeah, Aronok in the chat is going, what the fuck are the employees supposed to do? Exactly. What are the employees supposed to do? And in fact, we're witnessing what the employees should do. So the first thing they did was politely ask him to leave. Then we had the manager come down and try to handle the situation, and now they're calling the police. Because people realize that we're not risking our own lives by trying to tackle this person out of the store, much like we wouldn't tackle a thief who's stealing a bunch of hooch. And I'm going to keep using the word hooch.
Shoot him with champagne corks.
Well, like, there's tons of glass bottles. Like, what are they supposed to do? Get in a shiv war? Like, smash a bottle and, like, try to, like, fight each other in the aisleways of the LCBO? Stupid.
And
Yes.
as well, because of the pandemic nonsense, we have minors masking up, pretending to be older, and they are walking out the store. Now, that's kind of
Cheers.
funny because the ostensible policy reason for having a government monopoly that serves liquor is social responsibility. And what that means, folks, is that the private sector, they're just profit driven. They don't care about doing the right thing. They'll let, kids buy booze and walk out the store without a second thought. But in fact, this is what we've observed with the government being in charge. They are answerable to no one. And when they do break the rules, unlike, say, a convenience store selling tobacco to a minor, which faces huge fines or even having the right to sell tobacco taken away, the LCBO just shrugs its shoulder and says, oops, our bad, we'll do better next time.
The thing is, that stuff could happen at a Walmart. But also he's arguing that this is the reason specifically why we don't have it at why the LCBO gives as a justification for their existence. And I don't doubt that they've probably thrown it out there. But I think what Vienno said at the beginning is the more important one that I hear members of OPSU constantly throwing around, which is the fact that we get a lot of tax revenue through the LCBO purchases. Which has nothing to do with having it at a Walmart. Because, the bad thing about putting in a Walmart is now that money is going into private hands. So you're enriching a company rather than, say, enriching our healthcare in this country. But also, the stupid example that he just gave there about cigarette smoking as well is really stupid, because in that case you have individual stores, right? So it might, like, you have an individual convenience store that's selling smokes at other place, and it might be easy to levy a fine on them, and therefore restrict that one convenience store from selling this product. But how do you do that in terms of like an entire like franchise or corporation like the LCBO or a Walmart, for example? My guess is there's different rules that come into play there, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, that's so Aronok also brought up as well. He wasn't asking, or they weren't asking about the what would the employees do, but what would the employees do about the people dressing up as grandmas? And again, if you can't tell that they're grandmas, what can you do at that point? Excuse me, Grammy. Can I touch your skin? Let me touch it. I need to make sure that your wrinkles are authentic.
It reminds me of a Mr. Bean sketch, but I don't know if anyone is super familiar.
Was someone dressed up as an old lady and then they felt their skin?
No, he goes around like just pulling at Christmas time, pulling on like fake Santa's beards that are ringing their bells and stuff until he accidentally pulls the guy's real beard.
To see who's the real Santa.
Yeah, exactly. The guy's in pain and he has to run away before he gets in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
okay, go Vienna.
revenue for LCBO 2018 to 19. So the year that he talked about for like the theft stuff too was $6.39 billion.
Yeah, and he's running about $5 million.
They transferred so that's not accounting for the need to buy more alcohol afterwards, but they still transferred $2.37 billion to the Ontario government in 2018-19. Like, that is so obscene in comparison to $5 million stolen. Like,
but Vienno, you know that if the $5 million wasn't being stolen, that 2.37 that they're transferring could be 2.42, unless my math is wrong. It could be even more.
Oh no!
No, it wouldn't even be.
Yeah, no, it'd be significantly less than that, because I think your math is going on like 100 million. Or like...
Oh yeah, see? That's how bad my math is. I'm not good at that. But, I gave even in my generous example, it's too much.
Oh my god. David Menzies.
I think now that we know the sheer dollar amount, that it is $5.2 million. And by the way, who knows what the amount is in terms of internal theft? I don't think that is part of the sum that we were given.
Now, he pulls up this article, which was back in 2018, and OPSU was saying there's 77 million due to theft, which is what Vienna was hitting on, which is like 5 seems really low, it could be really high. So OPSU gave out this number, Now, I have no way to like verify this number to know that it's for real. And so I don't know. David Menzies is implying that what this means is this number is not just outside theft, but internal theft. That there's so much more internal theft or something like that. Like, I don't know what it, like, he's at least implying that.
I'm wondering if, because like the thing that they were talking about was alcohol theft, like thieves stealing products. So I wonder if the 77 million is more from like actual straight up robbing the till.
Oh, like if somebody came in like armed robbery style?
Yeah,
Maybe?
because I feel like that would be, you would have significantly more in the till than you would be able to carry out in terms of bottles, most likely. Like,
Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe what the company released was just booze theft rather than theft generally.
yeah.
Yeah, because like the other side is like if it was just internal theft, why would OPSU release an inflated number that hurts their membership?
Yeah.
Like that's really stupid.
Very, very stupid.
Especially when the company's gonna lowball it to 5 million, which shows that like, and again, the lowballed 5 million claim didn't stipulate that it was internal versus external theft. But David Menzies doesn't care. He just wants you to hate unions, and he wants you to be pro privatization, which is the whole point of this piece.
In any event, this
And to
is
be
an
arrested.
egregious sum, and I think the Doug Ford progressive conservatives must do something about this. Remember the slogan in 2018, for the people? Well, we the people of Ontario, we own this. And also, Ontario open for business. Yeah, legitimate business, not monkey business, not the right for organized theft rings and others to come in
Zing.
and just grab a bottle and walk out with it with no concern at all. Because at the end of the day, what the LCBO will do, presumably to make up for lost revenues, is simply raise the price of booze for the rest of us to purchase. So once again, welcome to Doug Ford's Ontario in 2020, where the takers are rewarded, the makers are penalized. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
The Menzoid. Wow.
Sorry, does it play the alien iPhone sound there at the very end?
That's just the Rebel transition music. Is that an Android sound?
I think that's like the alien like ringtone for either Android or Apple.
Well, folks, as you can see, it is sometimes almost impossible
I love
the start
getting
of
a
it.
straight answer
One
from
second.
government. That's why we
I don't
need
care
you
about
to
this
go
piece.
to
I just love that you can see Tony in the
Sometimes
background
it
still making a
means,
call.
filing a freedom of information request. Sometimes it means appealing the decision of that
Poor
request.
Tony's like, why
That
is this
can
asshole
cost
still in
hundreds
my
of dollars.
store?
If you're able to make a
Do you want
donation,
me?
please do so. And
Yeah.
I just want him to like look over his shoulder at him, and then just like you see him just fetch a really deep sigh and go back to the phone.
Oh. Yeah, so that was our David Menzies clip. Again, we didn't actually see the arrest this time. My guess is that my guess is the police didn't show up. It took them forever, and they probably just left knowing they weren't going to get arrested for being belligerent inside of a store.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now we're going to get to something that's pretty terrible. Terrible in terms of just not being funny. So, well, first we're going to start with this. So, this content is rated rebellious. Viewer discretion is advised. It includes satire and mature content.
So flippin' edgy.
Oh my god.
Not so
goodness.
it's
Punk AF.
it's edgy here, and then it gets even edgier. Oh fuck! It's gotta get a better screenplay. I love this. That's right. YouTube requires that we indicate that some opinions in this video contradict the consensus medical opinion about COVID-19. They're going really over the top here with the graphics. They've got
Just wanted to let you know that this video is bullshit.
Well, yes, well, I was gonna say it's a comedy piece, but let's be real here. It's gonna be so far removed from what normal people experience as comedy. This is a 2-minute clip by a new person. His name is Ben Benkus, and he's not funny. He's not funny at all. And what he's gonna do is it's the top 5 dumbest things that people say during COVID-19. And so it's like one of these list things that you see the like hip YouTubers do. Now the reason why Rebel has hired this person is because when the lockdowns first started to go in effect, he's decided to start his own podcast called Freedom of Comedy, which is a play on freedom of speech. And the issue is like because of all the bars shutting down and stuff like this, like he's not allowed to go out and do comedy anymore. So he was trying to like hold comedy events and was like fighting these like was like tempting or baiting the like politicians and stuff because he was being threatened with like $10,000 fines for putting on these comedy shows. And I don't think he ended up getting fined, but he played like house shows and had some people in his house and stuff like this. My guess is not wearing masks because he doesn't believe in masks. He's a big anti-COVID person. He also does like the main thing that I can find on his Twitter and YouTube is he does these really offensive videos about Theresa Tam. So he pretends to be Theresa Tam's brother and uses like a face manipulation thing such that he looks more Asian and puts on a really bad Asian accent and just pretends to be racist for well not pretends he is racist but he manifests it for a couple minutes to be ha 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 it's hilarious, it's so funny. And so and so Rebel hired them. And now this is their grand entrance onto the Rebel scene. So now here come the jokes. It's so funny.
My name is Ben Bankus, and these are the top 5 things people say during the pandemic. How is your pandemic? Stop it. I don't know anybody who died, just people who became woke. How is your pandemic? This isn't a music festival. You might as well ask me, how is your Coachella? A better thing to say would be, how's your welfare check? Still $2K a month?
Was that supposed to be funny?
Yeah, what just happened?
I was waiting for the punchline. It never came.
The punchline was your government gave you $2,000 a month to survive a global pandemic where the economy closed. Ha ha!
The punchline is they got paid for this.
There was so much I want to. This is such a short clip. We're gonna go back and watch that again. There's like the offensive image they have of the Asian person wearing the mask, that I thought was pretty offensive. But then it was like they hold like an image like describing what woke is, and part of me is like he mentions woke, and I don't even know why the fuck he's talking about wokeness. Like there's nothing in it that like explains the context to it whatsoever either.
They told him when they said they would do a video for him, or they have him in a video. It's like, all right, you got 2 minutes and you got to hit every talking point.
Pretty much. So let's watch this.
And these are the top 5 things people say during the pandemic.
I'm gonna freeze on the woke image.
How is your pandemic? Stop it. I don't know anybody who died, just people who became woke. How?
Oh fuck, I missed it. But also, have you ever?
It's a BLM reference.
Yeah, here we go. This doesn't sound too terrible to me. Aware, knowledgeable about your community and the world, with the willingness to access and critique systems of oppression. Oh no!
So far.
How dare you? How dare you critique the oppressive system in which you live? Just accept it. Don't think of the impending pandemic that seeks to kill you and all of your loved ones. Just ignore it. Go consume. Go make capitalism thrive.
I don't even understand. Like, how many of us here have said or had said to us, "How is your pandemic?" Like, that's also like part of this riff. This part of the riff is like, here's this thing that everyone's saying, and I'm gonna make a funny joke commenting on it because it's so stupid that people say this. And I'm like, I've never heard a single person say this.
I've heard things adjacent to it, where it's like, how's your life going post COVID type of shit, but I don't know.
Or it's usually used in a caveat, being like, COVID aside, how are you doing? Or, because everyone
Yeah.
knows that like COVID's like hitting everyone hard, so you want to like frame that in your how you're doing questioning, right? But no one's like, how's your pandemic? Like, how's
Yeah, I was gonna
chilling?
say it's it's just a part of my daily discourse. I ask my besties, how's your pandemic, and they say, oh, it's great. How was your car accident? And
No one talks like that's like also why this is a bad setup to a joke, because like in order for these kind of jokes to land, it needs to be common parlance, right? And no one talks like this, so the joke just has no content whatsoever. And then again, to steer with the punchline being you get $2,000 a month from your government, why is that a bad thing? I don't know.
How is your pandemic? This isn't a music festival. You might as well ask me, how was your Coachella?
I wish it was a music festival.
A better thing to say would be, how's your welfare check? Still $2K a month?
Aha!
We're all in this together. Remember when we were hopeful? We're all in this together became choose a side, bigot, real fast. It's almost like BLM got jealous of all the equality COVID was creating.
What?
I'm laughing because like I don't understand how he got from A to B. Like
he did.
Yeah, well, like because like I could see. I'm trying to do work here. Like I can't. Like he's trying to connect COVID with Black Lives Matter. Like it's just because these two things like coincided in time. Yeah, well, like Black Lives Matter didn't necessarily coincide with time, but like the current uprising has occurred during COVID. But that doesn't mean, oh cool, my cat entered the frame. That doesn't mean that that these two are related in some sense, right? Or at least that directly related, that you have to make a comment on it. Also, like that one scene where they're yelling at that woman, like that had nothing to do with masks. So it's like when you frame it as like, we used to all get along, and then all of a sudden it turned out that like you're be on my side bigot. And I thought he was going to go into like masks versus not wearing masks discourse. But then it went to Black Lives Matter.
Like I said, he has to hit every talking point in these 2 minutes.
Like none of it connects. It's not funny at all. And like part of me is like someone had to edit this, and like they came up with the jokes. Like no one in the room was like, this is stupid. This is not funny. None of the jokes land.
Actually, this is the edited down version. Every joke was actually like 6 minutes long originally, and this was just what they could salvage.
I like the thought of like Ezra's interns just like, oh my god, what do we do? How do we? This is 3 hours long. How do we make these 5 jokes hit?
I can't even remember what the punchline is for this one. So we're gonna go back and listen to it. Like, which said like the punchline should be the most memorable part. I can't even remember what it was.
This together. Remember when we were hopeful? We're all in this together became choose a side, bigot, real fast. It's almost like BLM got jealous of all the equality COVID was creating.
What?
So
There
it's
was
like
literally nothing.
COVID was creating some equality. Like, but it wasn't creating it. Like, I guess, like in terms of the "we're all together now" sentiment, and then somehow now Black Lives Matter is coming in saying we're not together now.
COVID is Bernie Sanders confirmed. I don't know.
I can't remember this one's it. One of them like made me chuckle a little bit, but I feel like it's indirectly. Like it wasn't the reason why he was expecting me to laugh. But if it's not this one, it'll be the number 4.
The word mask, 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 mask. I could agree with woke people if they wanted to change the name mask to femme. I'm sick of it. Put your mask on, pull your mask down, maskless, pro-mask, anti-mask. That's my favorite mask. Where'd you get your mask? Mask exempt. Kiss my mask. Or as Trudeau calls it, blackface.
What?
Okay.
I gotta be honest. Like I'm we're 3 in. I'm already feeling tired of this. Holy crap.
I like that one left me the most speechless out of all of them, just because like none of that made sense. And like
He's like doing a stream of consciousness, like it's nonsense.
and like the like, was it an insult towards like gender non-conforming people? Like I'm not even sure
Yeah,
what that joke was. I'd be cool
I
with it
don't
if they
know. Like,
referred
I
to
think
them
that
as
there's
femme.
definitely like I feel like gay Twitter has definitely made that joke already, but like good, and I kind of want to see them make it, but this was not it. This is not where you go to see such
Well, how
things.
does I don't even know. I guess not being in gay Twitter, I don't even know what the joke like. What's the reference here? Thank you,
Because like
Aronok, for
masc
following.
versus femme, like
Yeah,
masculine versus feminine, but like
Oh my god, that was a stretch.
yeah, MASC versus MASK. That's he saw that and he's like, I can crowbar that one in.
Jeez, I mean, it happened so fast that like now I gotta go. All of these I gotta go back and listen to it. And
no, we don't need to. It's fine.
okay, we don't. But oh fuck, what was I gonna say? The he like also sort of mocked the exemption card thing, which is like that is like a rebel initiative. And they throw him on the show to like make fun of the fact of what we just watched in the last clip of like David Menzies pretending he had like a mask exemption card. Oh my god, it's not funny. This one I think I laughed, but like unintentionally. So
Distance. Social distance, physical distance. Can you keep your distance? Why do I feel so distant from my wife? I have to go to my socially distanced divorce hearing.
I can see, it's not funny the way he intended it.
I don't even think that last part was a joke. I think he was saying we have to end the video. I gotta go.
no, he's dealing with some serious, serious.
That wasn't a joke. That was a cry for help.
Oh, why have you left me, Sally? Don't leave me again, Sally. I promise I'll stay. Oh my god, and number 5, here it comes.
Cases. Cases are up. Cases are down. Presumptive cases. Confirmed cases. Asymptomatic cases. The cops are casing the place because I tweeted about the Breonna Taylor case.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh,
Okay.
It's the meme. It's the meme the kids use. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, just random clip with overmodulated music at the end of it. That's the meme.
What?
I mean, it is. I haven't seen it like this year, but it has been in the past.
What's the joke? I don't know what the joke is.
I don't know what he was using like the clip for. Like I do really love that clip because it's just
Oh, it's fantastic.
kind of timeless, but
The Jordan Peterson one
it
is
didn't
my
relate to
favorite.
anything else. Like
It's like I'm just so the whole Breonna Taylor thing at the end there, because it comes out of left field. It's like, what does this have to do with COVID? And then again, because like your joke should have a flow where like point A connects to point B and it takes you on a journey. Like even if something comes out of left field, it should be somewhat connected to like the other strands such that it makes sense. But it's like numbers are up, numbers are down. But then it's like then you realize that what he's hinging on is the word case. And then he's like, I tweeted about the Breonna Taylor case and now police are at my door? So, like, did he tweet something that was pro Breonna Taylor? Like, I seriously don't... Like, it's such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, all I can think of is that...
Asymptomatic cases. The cops are...
Yeah, that's just, like I say, I've said it a couple times, but like, hit every talking point. Maybe this was his audition video for the part, and they just threw it up there because he's like, okay, the way I get in at this place is I just say all the things they've been saying for years and mash it into one video.
It's worse than hitting every point here, though, because like if he was just hitting the points, it should be like an anti-protest about Breonna Taylor that he should be getting mad about. But he's saying the cops are coming to his door. Listen. I'll play it one more time. He literally is talking about the cops coming to his door.
The cops are casing the place because I tweeted about the Breonna Taylor case.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Like, why? Unless he's trying to say that he said something negative about Breonna Taylor, and that's why the cops are coming. But the cops are the ones that killed her, so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like, I'll be a little bit more maybe like specific. It's like he's hitting every talking point, but he's an idiot.
Yeah.
So he can't string it together in any coherent fashion.
I can't remember if he says anything important by his last little outro, so we'll do that first and then we'll close up.
Thank you for watching. My name is Ben Bankus.
Hi, Ben.
I am a comedian
No,
here
you're
at
not.
Rebel News. If
Well,
you
you
want
are
to check
there.
out more content, go to rebelnews.com or check out my website, benbankus, BANKAS.com. I am also Ben Bankus on all social media platforms, and if you can't find me, it's Ben Bankus Comedy. Thanks for watching.
Where's he from?
Where's he from?
Yeah, where's that last name from? Bankus.
I don't know his.
But he's like Ukrainian.
I think he originally was in Toronto and then like went to Vancouver. In terms of like where he performs his, I was gonna again call it comedy, but like let's be honest, nothing about that was funny except when he vaguely implied that he was getting divorced.
I was gonna say he doesn't so much perform his comedy as inflict it.
Like that was and the depressing thing too is if you go to the YouTube clip, like I was trying to read some of the comments, but like most of them were just kind of like haha. But then this, Jesus Christ, that was pure gold, straight to the point, and everything spot damn on, particularly the routine about the mask. And I'm just like, how is it just that like conservatives have like a different part of their brain in terms of comedy that like something like that can be funny to them? Because like I've heard like conservative, like even if someone were to tell say a racist joke, I'm not gonna like the racist joke, but there's a coherency and a form to the joke that corresponds to joke telling such that you can get why this is a joke. Nothing about what we just watched was like a joke. It was word salad.
Lithuanian. Should have guessed.
Oh my god. Why is Lithuania bad on comedy?
Oh, they're just like they just have a tendency to collaborate with Nazis, and then like currently they have like marches and like celebrations of like when the SS and the Wehrmacht entered to supposedly liberate them from the Soviets. It's just like a rough
Yeah,
nationality sometimes.
there was one stand-up session that he did where he like a woman in the audience right off the bat said something like, take off your glasses, and like he was able to riff with her, and it wasn't like bad, like I was laughing at some of the things that he was saying, but then he was like, where are you from? And she's like, across the lake, and they were in Parry Sound, so like the lake nearby is one of the Great Lakes, and so it's like it was just a funny thing to say, plus it's like, what lake? Like there's tons of lakes up there, right? And then he was joking. He's like, oh, yeah, we just waited till, like, the lake froze, and then we snowmobiled over here, like, my whole family. And then he said something like, it was like in Bangladesh. And, like, no one laughed at that, like, line. But I was like, so you're making a comedic joke about the fact that all these people are, like, piled up on, like, a snowplow, and somehow that reminds you of a country where everyone jumps on a vehicle like that. But it's like, why, like... A part of me is like, I feel like he adds those little bits of like, I'm going to be like slightly racist or xenophobic, and then hope people get mad such that I can become famous of being one of these comedians that like said something wrong in a venue and had people freak out on me. And then I can now grift like he's grifting currently on Rebel by saying like, oh man, like the woke won't let me do comedy, you know? Freedom of comedy, man. And that's his whole shtick.
Comedy.
What was that, Vienno? You cut out a little bit.
Oh, I just said freedom of comedy.
Like, the fact that he even came up with that saying is so stupid. So I'm hoping that this tanks his career on Rebel, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. My guess is he's going to be sticking around because they're desperate for anybody attempting what Ben is attempting here that would be willing to go on Rebel. So
I imagine he's going to be like we have the Menzoid. We're going to have Bankus the Dankus within the next week or two.
We didn't reflect on that either, but the fact that the Menzoid even refers to himself as the Menzoid is so fucking childish. He's such David Menzies is a tragic character that there's just something about him where I want to study him. I want to learn his past life. I want to know what drove him to this moment, and I want to write a biographical novel about him, studying him and how he became the Menzoid. I'm really curious. And I'm probably the only person in the world who is as curious about this.
Working title, what is this? Are you guys kidding?
Oh, God. But anyways, that'll end our stream. We're in the sweet spot of time to end it. I just had to shove in that Ben piece at the end here because it was so bad. So bad that I can't believe they actually shared it with the world. Oh, Clara, I was just ending my stream and I was gonna send people your way. Are you done, or are you just invading my chat? So the lol, I'm guessing, means yeah, you're done. Oh shit. I don't know. So every time I'm like, I'm gonna raid Clara, and then never works. Thank you. Aronok gave me a 5 out of 7 perfect beard. Wouldn't a perfect beard be a 7 out of 7? Oh, tell her I sent you. Oh, did you, raid Demon Mama Live. That name has me worried, Clara. Should I? She's cool. Okay. I hope you're right. And then I will raid. Well, first I'm going to check to see if there's anyone else I know that I could raid. I guess we'll do what do we got here? Let me look at Demon Mama for a second. Okay, I vaguely know who Demon Mama is. I've seen their Twitter. I think I follow them on Twitter. All right. That being said, I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to my Patreons who keep showing up for the voice chat portion. If you want to join them, it's patreon.com/Imperial News. If you donate at the $10 or above level, you can join the chat when we can do this every Friday. Also, check out the podcast. It should be on all your podcasting apps. And if it's not, message me on Twitter or something. And that's at, it'll be Imperial News is the name of the podcast, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, is a pun on Rebel News. A Star Wars themed pun.
Did you want to share this thing that's in the chat, the Patreon thing, real quick, Jody?
Oh, how do I? Oh, sure. See, I gotta get my Patreons to tell me to
land back lane in.
Oh, I should do
the
that
chat
too
also.
as well. Yeah. Good idea. In fact,
they just
now
got
that
raided today.
Did they get raided?
Or no, that was yesterday, wasn't it?
Well, I know that the police were at the gates yesterday, and overnight last night they dug up the road. They dug up Highway 6 with their giant digger, which is fantastic.
Yesterday, I think there was skirmishes. The cops used a taser and I think maybe pepper spray or tear gas.
They did. Rubber bullets as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fucked up. The Canadian government, and both provincially and federally, is atrocious. I can't speak all of a sudden. Atrocious. Jesus Christ. My lips are paralyzed. Atrocious. There we go. Sorry, I'm just looking up the link here for the land back thing. So yeah, we've been promoting this GoFundMe for a while now on our show, and given that the government is not letting up and continuing to target them for the land that rightly belongs to them to build some really stupid housing development, please donate to their legal fund as well. That's in the chat, and they need it. Some of our colleagues locally were arrested, or at least charged. They had to sort of like bring themselves to the police station, and then their trial, I think, is coming up in December for mischief, and they're not allowed back on the territory that's being occupied by the I don't know how to pronounce it. Haudenosaunee, I think, is what they're calling it.
Haudenosaunee.
Haudenosaunee. Thank you, Vienna. And it's the Six Nations area, which is right next to Caledonia, which is the source of a lot of tensions that have occurred over the years. Let's just say. And that tension is white people complaining constantly, and then the indigenous people trying to protect themselves. Typical Canada. Typical Canada. So I'm now going to hopefully raid Demon Mama and end this stream. Oh shit, now if I can remember how to do it. I think it's like /raid. And then what did she put here? Demon Mama Live. So thank you, Clara, for the recommend. And we'll give your friend a raid. And whenever you're on, Clara, you're next. I will raid you eventually. Everyone say hi to Clara. She's awesome. And that's it. Thank you so much for participating in the stream. And we'll see you next week. Have a fun life.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Let's see. I rated and now I gotta end stream.